Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Oh my gosh, all this new fun tech. And I'm really excited to be here. I just want to make sure I can see everything happening. And if you see me, please say hello. We are going to do some card pulls today. And if you're with me for the very first time, hello, my name is Michele Laine. I am a business mentor, I'm an energy alchemist, and I'm also a master numerologist to bring card readings, clarity, conversation, and recalibration into all of these topics, especially the ones around money, wealth, legacy, leadership, so we can become not only the best versions of ourselves, but really land into our highest potential, as well as unlocking and recalibrating the nervous system to be able to overflow into more. And that's the whole name of the game. So welcome. So glad you're here. So let's play along. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me. I've got the chat going so I can see that. And I've been shuffling the cards while I've been waiting for the technology to turn on. And I cannot wait to do this reading with you. And being this is one of the first times I've been live in a long time on YouTube. If for any reason you don't find me until the replay, I'm really glad that you found this, because that means there's something for you to gain out of the conversation. There's a nugget. There's something here for you to apply into your day. And with that, I'm going to get going and pull a few cards. I'm using a regular playing deck of cards. So this isn't your usual oracle deck, but there are a lot of beautiful codes through the symbols and the numbers within the card deck. And this is really modeled after a book of life, quantum numerology experience. This is Astro-Egyptian numerology. So we're really looking at the suits as leaders towards relationships with hearts, or the mind, communication, and our career with the clubs, the physical representations and environments, as well as what we manifest, and the money and how we receive with the diamonds, and then that spades being the higher perspective, that inner workings, the way that we can gain even more perception than what we originally started with. And then a lot of times the spades are also really diving deeper into our spirituality. And then all the numbers are working together to either empower or disempower us, but they're not doing anything to us, right? We find ourselves at our edge. Where are we in the invitation that presents itself from these beautiful readings? So let's dive in and begin. I'm going to begin with a card pull for the collective. And since we're in a new month, we've got this beautiful November 2 energy month, and we're really inviting ourselves into connection, into the partnerships, to the people who are here to support us along our journey, and to maybe even make some decisions and discernment around those who may not be supporting us as much. And is that still in alignment for us as we continue forward? So let's begin to pull cards, because I also love feeling into the 2 energy when it comes to as above, as so below. And so what is life mirroring for us in this moment to help us with our growth and evolution over a lifetime? And when we look from that aspect, where can we see some of the patterns that keep us repeating the same things over and over and over again, so we can interrupt that cycle and create a whole new timeline around it? And that's what I love about the card readings. They can oftentimes awaken that part of us that has laid dormant, or maybe we just weren't tuned into to the capacity for which we could literally be. And it can help us change our mind in a moment's notice to take a new action. Through that action, we're going to be empowering ourselves into something different. We're going to experience who we are on the other side of that. And then we rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So let me dive in with just a few cards here so you can kind of feel into how this works for us and the topic we're talking about today. So of course, this system always knows, and I think it's really delightful, especially as we're talking around money. Sorry. You look in the mirror and you're like, oh, hey. So we've got our action, which is creating more harmony around money, really being able to receive more and allow the karma to be cleared by not allowing ourselves to fall prey of the way that we've had a relationship with debt in the past, maybe even felt indebted toward someone or something. So, this beautiful card is inviting us to participate in this beautiful alignment with money, this alignment with the way that we feel about debt, and being willing to take another look, being willing to maybe lay all the cards on the table, so to speak, but more so being able to look at your bills, look at your credit card statements, and appreciate them for how much you're able to continue each month. Not this debt that's coming in, not this place where we can feel like this is all there is in life, like money is limited, and we can really start to take a look at the ways that our mind will protect us and actually functions in this lack or scarcity state, when reality is there's a million other possibilities, and sometimes we're only looking through rose colored glasses through the lens through which we know it, right? When there's so much more available to us. So just because we haven't experienced it, I feel like this card's really inviting us into letting yourself lead beyond, let your heart lead a bit more in purpose. We've got the result being the Jack of Spades. That's really inviting us into more purposeful expression. So the Jack thinks he knows. He's got this beautiful tall hat. The kings also do too. So there's a lot of wisdom there. There's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of information. But this is really having you be pulled by purpose. This card, particularly, is an invitation to look beyond what you've known every day and let yourself experience life in a new way. Let yourself really listen to the truth you're carrying within you and what you want to do about that, what you want to bring into existence as you live your life on purpose. I can remember a time before I read cards, before I was a coach, before I was working with clients, and life just didn't. Life presented challenges, and it presented this beautiful opportunity and catalyst for me to start over again. We had businesses that were successful over 25 years. And my husband and I met at a moment in our business where the economy had switched. The world was kind of flipped upside down. And what we knew as consistency, what we knew as life, the way that we knew it, we were being invited into something higher, to something more truthful, to something a little bit more experiential in a purpose filled life. But at the time, it felt like losing our business. It felt like everything we built collapsing. It felt like, what do we do next? We've got two beautiful young kids who at the time were like 1 and 7. And this was what we knew. And we were being invited into what we didn't know. We were being invited into more purposeful work and expression, and to um, like looking back now, I think to really awaken into more and out of the mundane, and how do we want to serve in this lifetime? What legacy do we want to lead? So I feel like that meets us at some point or the other. And the longer we live, past our 40s and our 50s, we really start to feel into that so much more, because where I'm at in life now, the kids are grown, they're out, they're living their lives. And I knew that that time was coming, and I didn't want to be faced with who will I be? What will I be doing when I'm no longer taxing the kids everywhere or having all those responsibilities to manage on the calendar along with our own? And so it really became a curiosity. And that question that I kept coming up with was, who am I now? Who am I now when everything has changed? Who am I now when I don't have these roles and responsibilities? And so I had a bit of an identity being birthed into what else could be possible, and spending some time with myself and what else I wanted my life to look like. What were the things I hadn't challenged myself with yet? What are the things I really wanted to change? And when everything came into that convergence, we had this opportunity to start over again. So this whole last chapter, this last probably almost 10 years now, just shy of 10 years, has been a reinvention. And along that way, I learned more about spirituality. I learned more about who I am, remembering who I am. I learned more about the mind and the mindset, and the way that the nervous system can keep us running in such fight or flight. And really, the truth was, I had never not been in fight or flight. So it has been a journey of coming out of that, and also allowing myself to explore. And I think for me, the best way that I could know to do that was to start my own business, and to want to create a business out of passions, and want to really allow myself this soul's work that I felt very called for. So this is the result that's really coming up, inviting us into that purposeful expression. What's blessing us is the nine. And I love this a lot because the year itself is a nine energy. And this is all this inner perception, right? So when we look at what's blessing us on the other side of the nine, we get to let the disappointments go and we get to land into the possibility. And even beyond the possibility, the initiation into something's next. And that usually means doing our best to allow what's new to birth forward without holding on so tight or so dearly because we're so afraid of change. And this year has been very in your face, and I'd love to hear in the comments how you've experienced this, but very in your face of what you can no longer pretend isn't working. What cycles want to close? What of your own self are the cycle breakers that you want to move through? Is it making $5,000 more a month? Is it career, a whole new career path? Is it traveling more? What is it that's allowing you and inviting you beyond your comfort zone to really step into a deeper connection with yourself and with others? And where does that lead you? Because the nine, when we let go of the nine, a new cycle begins. But if we always hold on for fear of who we become or not knowing all the details, we miss out on the start that wants to come after we finish the cycle. And we don't have to look at cycle closing as a bad thing, but we do have to end the cycles. We can't keep going, especially into 2026, perpetuating the same patterns, the same habits, the same mindset, the same things that have kept us here to begin with. And so it's our opportunity to really let ourselves lead ourselves into that next chapter, to level up in that next level for ourselves, whether it's in finance, whether it's in relationship, whether it's in our health, or all of the above. And who do we become through that experience, and who must we become to meet ourselves in that dream? And so, where the mind is meeting, we have so many spades happening. Where the mind is meeting the universe is in this creating this foundation, this deeper spiritual foundation, it feels like, in the allowing of letting yourself be who you are, even if that's not who the world expected you to be. The needs, the should tos, the have tos get to fall away, and we get to find out who we are now. And I know for sure in this piece of the story that I'm sharing with you, like, I didn't know who I was anymore. I'm not sure I fully ever knew who I was when I wasn't playing a role of what someone else needed me, um, thought I should be, or felt I had to be. And when I took all those three away, I got to discover what I want, which was one of the hardest questions to answer. And just give me a shout out down below if that's you. The fact that I could believe in myself to have what I want, or that life could be different, and that I wasn't too late to go get it. Now I'm almost 10 years older. At that time, I was 48, right? So to think I was too old because I hadn't been aware of this growth trajectory or this empowerment or these spiritual connections in my previous decades doesn't mean it's too late now to start. And I had this dream of writing a book and telling our story, and I did those things, and that turned into coaching, and that turned into connecting with people. And now I run retreats and I work one-on-one and in group with women who want to meet themselves at that next level as well, and not only meet themselves there but exceed and really create the life that they've been dreaming of. And so I feel like this foundation is really inviting us into these really strong four pillars, these strong four pillars here as the foundation for what will be built from there. But to exclude spirituality, a higher purpose, a higher connection with something greater than you, is not honoring the whole. And I think it's time for us to step back into our wholeness, not as a place that we have to go find, but sometimes we have to remember. We've forgotten. We've gotten busy in life. We've done everything we thought we should, need, or had to do. And now we find ourselves a little lost. And that's okay, because when the student arrives, the teacher appears. And I feel like that's such a beautiful message for this November energy. So as we're ending these cycles, again, we're looking for the resources, the people, the connections that we can step into deeper, that we can enhance a bit more, that we can allow ourselves to receive more of, and maybe start stepping away from the things that aren't serving, the things, the people, the experiences that we've outgrown. It's time to allow ourselves to really soar. So that may look like maybe moving. That may look like changing careers. That may look like really focusing on new friendships. that means getting out of the house and getting connected and taking classes and getting outside of those things that we've always done that kept us in the same loops. So we can meet the people, we can make the connections, we can extend ourselves out there. And then in business and finances, that partnership, not only with money, to really expand that relationship, but also to be willing to expand any other relationships when it comes to partnerships in business, collaborations. There might be patterns showing up where you feel like you have to do everything, that there's no way you could even fathom partnering with somebody, and yet you have this desire to connect. And this is an opportunity for you to grow through that connection, to grow through that partnership, to heal anything of the past, any abandonment wounds, any rejection wounds, any sisterhood wounds, and really let yourself land into that leadership role and being able to not only be led, but lead with others alongside, right? So letting go of control, letting go of all of the patterns that have wound us up to begin with, to experience this part of ourselves that's in flow, co-creating with another. Sometimes that's co-creating with source, God, source, universe, and that connection within ourselves. Sometimes it's creating with the trust and the belief in self to take those big leaps. And sometimes it literally is connecting with others to create and collaborate. Who's going to be there in the long vision? Who's going to be there supporting you along the way? Who are the mentors that show up, the groups that show up as part of that support? And are you now ready and open to receive it? Because that's where we're going as we move into December and we start to amplify more of what we're wanting. We start creating more of the life that we're really wanting to create. And don't let this be a year where you're looking back this December just as you were last December and nothing else has changed. One, you've made many changes. It's time to celebrate the ones that you've made it through. But if you're still in that same threshold with money, for example, in your business, and you haven't quite crested over close to that six figures, but never diving over it or reaching up to the next level of those six figures, constantly meeting yourself at that edge, at that ceiling, this is when having support for getting through those things is really, really powerful and potent. So from every day, it can be like just wanting to feel less indebted to money and wanting to create more harmony that allows this the imagination station to be that's so tight in cobwebs to be pulled open and exposed so you can start to create new ways that feel purposeful for you to create a secondary income or maybe full-fledged income going out into your pure vision, right? Either way, the calling is here. The calling is not only just on your heart now, it's loud and center and it's wanting you to take action. So this is the time to really allow yourself to begin to integrate and begin to do what's needed for you to build the nervous system that's going to allow you to take those steps forward. Because trying to force it and rush it in and be chasing everything is what's dysregulating the insides. It's creating disease and disharmony in the body, and it's really calling you forward to journey into this discovery phase. So I love this so much. I'd love to know how this lands for you. And if you'd love to connect, I'd love for you to reach out and let me know how this lands or tell me in the comments below. What has been top of mind? What cycles are closing? And how did this information help you today with taking that one next step? Subscribe if you're loving this information and you want to see more of this and more of the conversations that I'll be coming live on my channel with. I'd love to have you join me and grow with me. So hit that button and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thanks again for joining today. Bye for now.